I'd love to like go back to Superside. So like this idea of testing in the early days, obviously even pre rebrand, there wasn't probably a ton of traffic, right? Like you were starting from scratch. And I don't know if that was the case for you, but at startups for me, the thing that like the C-level folks love is volume of experiments, like number of tests, like how many experiments that we'd run, like what did we learn from it? How did you, like, handle that? And maybe that wasn't the case for you, but, like, what advice would you have for listeners that are in those shoes that don't have the volume of traffic to get anywhere close to sat sig and feel like there's any validity in, like, the results of an experiment that had, like, hundreds of people that went through it? Like, how do you deal with that with the C-level folks saying, like, "We need experimentation. That's how companies are growing."
Yeah. Um, I haven't had anyone like say you need velocity of testing, more like velocity of learning. Like that's at least what my boss, not the CEO at Superside used to say to me. And he said that to me very, very early on when I was like freaking out and being like, how are we gonna make our first million? He was just like, don't worry about the money. He was like, just worry about can you and the team, the small ragtag team of 3 people we had, he was like, can you guys like learn really fast? And he was like, that could be qualitative or quantitative. It doesn't have to be like one or the other. So, one of the things we had done was to just throw up a bunch of landing pages and just put a ton of paid media against it to see if we could get to that statistical significance and test like essentially we were testing like value props and seeing like what's sticky, where do people scroll, where they stop, where they click, where they convert, blah blah blah. But then we also had to learn about a whole bunch of other stuff. Like if we were to cold call a company, what do we say? How does that go? Is it should it be human powered? Should it be AI powered? Should it be, do we want them to um, do a trial with us, or do we actually just want them to like come to like something else, like maybe like a webinar or something? Like what that type of qualitative testing is also helpful and valid, and it allows you to kind of see which funnels to build, how much to invest in the different parts of marketing. Like for us, it turned out that our content marketing engine would not necessarily directly, in an attributed way, like produce um, real pipeline in that way. Like it wouldn't look like that, but we created this like really big aura, and almost one or two out of every sales call, the prospect would automatically reference like, "Oh my god, I love you guys on LinkedIn. I love your Instagram. It's so funny," or whatever, right? Like they would volunteer that information on their own, and that's like when we weren't asking. So like 2 out of 10 were like just volunteering that. So we knew that some of the things we were doing were working from a content marketing and social media perspective. And you won't know that often until you actually try and it's out there in the world. And that feedback loop is delayed, sadly, but it is what it is. That's marketing. I'm pretty sure Coca-Cola doesn't know of the billboard campaign they did for the polar bear, whatever. Like I don't think they have that feedback loop like right away either.